Our world is a world of water. The oceans cover 71% of the surface of the Earth and provide us with the oxygen we need for every 2 breaths we take. From space, the seas are a blue and calm void. Yet under the surface, they hold life, mysteries and wonders we could scarcely imagine. Today, much of this life is threatened by the actions of the planet's top predator, man. Pollution, climate change, and intensive overfishing threatens a significant amount of the life in our seas. It also puts at risk the livelihoods of those who work at sea, those who enjoy its spoils, and those that rely heavily on marine life to survive. Humanity has enjoyed a long and fruitful relationship with the sea for many thousands of years, and for nearly all of human history, there has been enough fish in the sea to feed us all. As technology developed in the 20th century, fishing vessels could catch more fish in more places than ever before. Today these developments continue, and we have a global fishing industry worth nearly $250 billion per year. In a world where 1 in 7 of us rely directly on fish to survive, increasing global population, squeezes on resources and increased consumption raises the question, can we continue to exploit the sea without changing it forever? The oceans today are very different to how they used to be. While it may appear that the oceans are healthy and that there are plenty of fish in the sea, the reality is that we have overfished marine environments and major changes have occurred. One of the most significant of those changes has been the reduction in the number of large and predatory marine species. Because large marine species are so commercially valuable, they have been continuously targeted by fishers over time. But by fishing too quickly and too vigorously, fishers put pressure on the ability of the marine species to replenish themselves. Even today, where there is large fish, there is overfishing.
The classic example is the bluefin tuna, which everyone talks about, and the part of the reason that the bluefin tuna is so threatened is because I think people don't realise quite how large these animals are. They can, well in excess of 2 meters long, and as a result, that means that in terms from the age that they reach sexual maturity is much later, and overfishing often will end up targeting the smaller individuals, so way before they're able to reproduce.
Not to be confused with the tuna that is sold in cans, the Atlantic bluefin is an endangered species, but also one of the most valuable fish in the world. The overexploitation of bluefin tuna has been a concern for many years, but because the fish is a delicacy in some parts of the world, and an individual tuna may sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars, exploitation is continuing at an unsustainable rate. The enduring popularity of bluefin tuna in the Far East is now threatening stocks that were long held to be healthy. In recent years, it has become more obvious that severe depletion of the Pacific stock has occurred. Scientists from the International Committee of Tuna and Tuna-like Species in the Pacific Ocean reported earlier in 2012 that the spawning biomass of Pacific bluefin tuna has fallen by 96.4% against unfished levels.
It's not just the deep that's in danger. Shallow water habitats like coral reefs are having a hard time too. Part of the problem is the growing trade in reef fish, and it's often the market demand for luxury fish like groupers, coral trout and wrasse that's behind the problem. They're being fished out at an alarming rate. Fish on coral reefs that were once a staple food for local people are now in high demand as a delicacy for people in major cities around the world.
Many reefs have been trampled on, smashed by boats, and even dynamited in the quest for fish. And damaged reefs support fewer fish. This could be why the fishermen are catching less. In Fiji, biologists are working with fishermen to bring the fish back by replanting the reefs. This is a coral nursery. But with wild corals already struggling, where have these coral seedlings come from? The coral gardeners monitor the reef, looking for corals that need a helping hand. Despite all this real estate, many corals end up clustered together. Crowded out, they will eventually die. So the gardeners uproot them, creating more space for some and giving the uprooted ones a fresh start. Each coral head is broken down into a dozen or more fingers, and each of these is tied onto a concrete disc. As every gardener knows, vigorous growth requires sunlight, plenty of nutrients, and the right temperature. So the coral gardeners choose just the spot.